DRF, Discretionary Response Fund for the Project Lyttelton Incorporated, and Tawhiti Unlimited Discovery. I'm happy to second. Now, just very roughly, the one for Project Lyttelton, really to somehow, and we've got to look at it, you don't say, it's just to make life easier as far as traffic management goes. Are we heading down that track?
I might just ask my colleague Stephen Wright, who knows more about it than I do, just to let you know what the updates are.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon all. I think the money they're after at the moment is to fund their traffic management for the near future until they get to grips with the new traffic management rules. We're working with Project Lyttelton to reduce the amount of traffic management needed and for them to try and take it in-house to reduce cost further moving forward.
Yep, no, that's good, because otherwise just burning money up, isn't it? So that's great. Okay, Aaron's got a question. And then Pauline.
Yeah, this would seem to be something that's incredibly simple, was made quite hard. So they block off a street to run the market. Is it not as simple as you just have a global plan that lasts all year or until the market's cancelled, and then there's 10 cones at each end and 2 signs get put out and the local community do it? And then...
So what those through the chair, at the moment they have to do that 50 odd times a year.
Right. So
there's a fair amount of labour involved. You have to set them up first thing in the morning, then demobilise in the lunchtime afternoon. So there is a fair amount of work there, but through the new rules, we're working with them to simplify and to get Project Lyttelton and their volunteers to be qualified to do the work themselves rather than outsourcing it. But they need to upskill and do a few courses to enable them to do that safely first. So what they're asking for here is to continue the status quo until they're in a position to do that.
Right.
Okay, Judy. Pauline?
Just can you clarify around the NZTA requirements? So they became more stringent, and are they going the other way now?
Through the chair, the new code that's come out is to put more responsibility onto the organiser and to be more risk-based. And when you look at an event in Lyttelton, the same event happens every week, so the public should know about it. So in terms of risk, I think it's relatively low risk, whereas previously the rules were a bit more hard and fast and you had to do certain things, whereas now we can look at it on a risk-based approach and say, do we really need to do that? Is the risk that great there? And I think in my view in Lyttelton, the risk is relatively low and we can reduce those costs under the new rule.
But that's in place now.
Yes, but we need to work with Project Lyttelton to enable them to do that.
So in other words, the risk is being transferred from what was council to the operator.
To some degree, yes.
Yeah. And so, because this is only 30 of the 50 that they've asked for, so are you anticipating that they may not need that full 50 or they'll have to get it somewhere else?
Sorry, you can answer this.
When we talked about it at the panel, we thought that the 30, and they're in agreement, the 30 will get them through to exactly where Stephen's saying, where they'll be able to, the training will be done, the upskilling will be done, and they will be able to do this a whole lot cheaper. And when we went back to them with the 30, they were very comfortable with that.
Okay. That's good.
Thank you. Tyler, then Tyrone.
Kia ora, guys. Just public knowledge again. I'm that guy. Could you talk to me about Autawhiti and their proposal?
Yeah, I can do it.
Can we...
I'll wait for this.
Yeah, sorry,
that's
can we
fine.
just sign that one
Wait
off?
for Lyttelton? Okay. Yeah,
Is that right?
Oh no, they're both in the same resolution, so.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yep.
It's the same report. Yeah, so this proposal came forward through Autawhiti School and it's for a community play space. So the benefits are for the students of the school, but also the wider community, so visitors and the growing number of residents in the area. It was co-designed with the students, and due to the lack of park amenities within walking distance of this area, it's aimed to fulfil the need for green space and recreation in close proximity to the school and the neighbouring residents.
Love it. Thanks so much. And how much is remaining in the DRF if these get approved as they are today?
Approximately 100,000.
Cool. Sweet. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah, I'll probably have a recommendation around Te Tawhiti at some point.
I thought this was going to be the easy one. Okay, so Tyrone, will you just wait? Yeah, we're good. Okay. I've got you, Yanni, straight after Celeste.
It's just a very quick one, just to understand the traffic management side. Things like retractable bollards, would that then remove the need to put in place temporary traffic management because you've actually got a physical barrier?
Through the chair, that is an option that was considered, but somebody would still have to go out there to stop the
couldn't hear the
traffic
question.
Oh, sorry.
while they.
I'll just repeat the question. Sorry, it was a bit quiet. It was around the fact that for temporary traffic management and would retractable bollards solve that problem? And if so, what's the cost?
So through the chair, we did look at that option, but somebody would still need to go out and stop traffic and then lift the bollards. So that we've investigated options to try and put as much permanent infrastructure in as possible to make it as easy as possible for them on the day. And we're going to continue doing a bit more work in that space as well. But retractable bollards weren't necessarily the best option.
Sorry, and just one further. I've seen the bollards because I saw someone standing on one and it started rising. Are they not automatic? No. Okay.
Not in Lyttelton, no.
Yeah, Yanni?
Yeah, I was just trying to understand where the new green space was going to go.
Yeah, so that's on Mollett Street. So it's one of the lanes that is out the front of our Tawhiti's reception area.
Okay, so but is the green space going on the public road or it's going on the school land?
So it's on privately owned land. It's not public council domain.
Right.
School led.
Yeah.
Okay. Have we talked to the Ministry of Education about, like the adequacy of what they're doing in terms of this?
When staff spoke with our Tawhiti school, they had approached the Ministry of Education to ask if they could support a project like this, and the answer was no from them.
Right. And is there any concern, the President, that would set for us to do other public developments on school sites?
That was a question that also our staff panel considered, and where we saw alignment with council strategies was because of the wider benefits that are intended for the general public as well.
Right. And so this space will remain open 24/7 for residents?
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay, cool. So just, to be aware that we've had a lot of issues in Kiwi too.
Yep.
With what's happened with the public access for the schools. But I've looked at the map of this and I can understand the need for it. The other thing that it seems that it would be a really good candidate for a neighbourhood growth project. We've got money on budget for urban parks for growth, given that one of the justifications in here is the increased intensification of residential with very little green space. How do we get these sorts of projects added to the list so that they get funded through the development contributions?
That's an interesting point. I'm not familiar with that exact route of funding, but when I approached our parks unit, they advised that they would be unlikely to spend money on a play space that's not on public land. So that was the advice we received from that perspective.
Right, that's great. Thank you very much. Now, so we've got a mover and seconder. There's no more questions. Is there any discussion? As I'll, Aaron? Oh, sorry. Yeah, you. So what are you saying here? You want to up it from 12 to 18?
Mic on, please.
Oh, sorry, Jake. I'm foreshadowed pushing it to 18
Is it?
instead of the original 12 for Aotafuti.
I've said I'm happy to include it if Phil is. There's
Okay.
enough
Gary?
money in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are we getting? If this happens, Gary, where do we get the extra dough from?
The extra money is in the fund.
Okay.
It's there.
Well, something else doesn't dip out. Okay, so we've got, all right, one at a time here. Pauline wanted to do a question. I said no, so you go, Pauline.
Yeah, just that they currently don't have any other funders, contributing to this. Is there any other source of funding that they could have? Because
Yes.
normally we do look for other funders, not just council.
Yes, so anecdotally, they have passed on some updates to staff. So they have received funding from a few other places and have some other applications underway that are pending. And they have done some recent fundraising to secure some of their own funds. And so when staff spoke with them to say, if you received something around the ballpark of 12,000, what could you deliver? And they're happy to be agile to rescope the project based on the final budget they receive.
Okay, so where there's no other funders currently here, there are potential funders, and if we were to stick with the 12, could they could come back again to us if they don't?
I don't believe they can for the same project. So no, but the other funders that so far...
Discretionary.
Oh. You might want to correct me on that, Gary.
Anyhow, okay, moving on.
Aaron?
It's changed, so I'll go to a question now. If there's plenty of money in the pot, why was your recommendation 12 and not 18?
So we wanted to see that there was a collaborative approach to funding. And so with the amount we recommended, there was room for them to seek other partners and other funders and also do some of their own fundraising.
And so then you're confident in your recommendation that the project would go ahead with the amount you recommended?
Based on conversations that staff have had with the school, yes.
Tyler was next, and then Pauline, then Sarah, then Yanni.
Kia ora, Danielle. So we're not sure if we need a rescope or not if we give them the 12.
So they, no matter what their final budget is, from funding from council and from other places and what their fundraising ends up at, they are working with a parent in-house who is happy to adjust the plan accordingly.
Okay, and you might not know this, and yeah, you might not either, but I'm just wondering how much a normal playground costs to place around the city. I don't think anyone's here.
Andrew.
Or play space. What'd you say? Between 100 grand and 20 million.
I think it's important to realise that this is sort of, if you imagine half a laneway, and so this isn't a huge space. And what the school's saying is, with a little bit of money, they can make it a lot more friendly environment. It'll be open to people walking through at night and people during the day. They're just trying to kill two birds with one stone, really.
Sounds like a hell of a deal.
Can you imagine half a laneway, Tyler?
My ideas on laneways are a lot different.
Is Dean's Ave a laneway?
Oh, sorry. My apologies. Staff apologies.
Here we go. Welcome to politics, Gary.
Righto. So I understand what you're saying, and you're saying that you maybe don't give that to them all, but there is money there, but you want to get other buy-in. But I'm more than happy to do this. So I'm happy to go along with, because Sarah's happy with it, I'm happy with it as the mover and seconder. So that becomes the substantive. So yeah, that's right. That's where I sit. Sarah, you got a question or something?
Yeah, so just clarifying there though. So they have a design, they've got a costing, they'll still need extra funding even if we put 18 in. So that will do collaborative stuff. But if we only put 12 in, they'll have to rescope the design to something smaller.
So yeah, depending on what their final budget is, they will rescope. Their designer is a parent, so has volunteered a lot of time to be able to do the design. But in recent conversations with the school, they're confident that with what they've got so far, they'll be able to start getting underway soon.
Yeah. So they'll be able to do something, but yeah. It's
Okay.
But it's a lot of volunteer labour and all that kind of stuff. Anyway,
All right, so I'm going to put it,
let's
but yeah, I'm going to put it. Thank you. But Yanni had one question before I put it.
So I was wondering how big this space actually is, and I see in the recommendation we're being asked for funding not for green space, but for a sandpit and a shade sail. So
The sandpit is now off the cards. We talked about environmental issues with a sandpit in the middle of town, which I won't really go into any further, but so the redesigning of that. And look, I think it's important to understand that they've got $18,000 more than when we did this application. So they've gone out and more people have come on board. So,
Okay.
but how big is the actual space?
I don't have the exact square meterage on hand. I understand at its widest point it's 4 meters, and then I couldn't tell you how long.
So it's tiny, basically.
So, Phil, I'm just conscious we've spent probably half an hour on $6,000 and we're talking about sandpits at the City Council. Just vote.
We've probably, the cost of running this room's probably cost the same as what. So I'm going to put this motion. All those in favour? Aye. All those against?
Aye.
Thank you. That's carried. Right.